We back. We talking about the material plane. We talking about from Allah to man, and we talking about the different heavens, the seven heavens. We talking about the material plane, which is solid, liquid gases, electric ether, life ether, light ether, and mental reflection, which is right here. It says there are seven substances. These substances vary in density and vibrations. The lowest vibration we can sense with the five senses is solids, liquids, and gas. The other substances vibrate at higher levels. Man must come to know these substances, for as the mental plane is made of these substances, the body is also made of them, and they are reflected in the highlight or the aura. How brilliant is his highlight? How brilliant is his perception of the spiritual world and the unseen things? With his perception of the spiritual world and the unseen things can be healed himself from the sickness or disease of the seen. We're going to say that again. Man must come to know these substances, for they for as the material plane is made up of these substances, the body, which is the temple, is also made of them, and they are reflected in the halit. The word halit is aura. How brilliant is his halit? How brilliant is his perception of the spiritual world and the unseen things? With his perception of the spiritual world and the unseen things, he can heal himself from sickness or disease of the seen things. Being tuned into the world of the spiritual means being in tune with the light. It is a light sent from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to man. It is a gift. If you have the light, is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is a light channeled by the angelic Sheikh al-Qadir. Salaam alaikum rahmatullah. From Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to man. It is a light mentioned oftentimes and not understood. A light connecting the physical body to your spiritual body. So it is say your physical body, the shell, to who you truly are, and is composed of different components, which we call ether, which the book will go and explain to you. It shined in the darkness of the universe, into the darkness of the earth, into the darkness of the body of man, and the darkness comprehend it not. The darkness, the body, which you think you are the body, which I just explained to you prior to this, that you are inside the body. The body represents the darkness, the dense part of the materialistic world, which consists of three different things: the body, solid, liquids, and gases in the body. And then your etheric form is three different things. We speak of it as a etheric or ether, but we break it down as is in the teachings. prior to this. So you have to go back. Because if we keep going back and back, we're not going to go too far. But it will come back again. Yet, as stated in the Injil, the New Testament, all things are made by him who sends it as Hua, and without him was not anything made that was made. In the book of John, the son of Zebedee, first chapter, 3rd to the 5th verse, it states, all things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shineth in the darkness, and the darkness comprehended not. Being that people were not in tune with who they are that came into the body, the darkness smothered them out. The light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the same light that the companions of the noble Prophet Mustafa Muhammad Alameen saw when they were in his presence. And that's the same thing with people. When you're around somebody with the light, you feel the light. You become part of the light. You become part of the all. That's why I encourage you to continue to share, to like, to teach, to listen, to learn. Don't be like the other people who were uncertain and they left and they didn't look back. Now, this is a picture of the light. And it's broken down and explained with symbols. As previously stated, no one can leave the material plane spiritually and physically if, as previously stated, one can leave the materialistic plane spiritually and physically if he learned how to use his inner senses. So you say, well, what is the inner senses? The inner senses are controlled by the inner vital centers called the seats. The seats is a faculty that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed upon men's senses to help him stay in tune with the spiritual world. The Holy Quran 46:26, and surely we established them in the land more firmly than you, and made for them inner hearing and inner seeing and inner hearts, but none of their hearing, seeing, or hearts proved to be of any benefit to them, since they ignore the signs of Allah, and they were encircled by that which they used to mock at. References are made to the faculties which enable man to keep in tune with the spiritual. There is the ear, not the physical ear for hearing, but the ear for the inner hearing. There is an eye and not a physical eye for seeing, but the eye for inner seeing, which is called the third eye. The third eye spoken of here is the third eye. The name is a tribute to the inner seeing by the elders in association to use it insight or the spiritual light which is exercised by man in the beginning. Ancient spiritual healers, learned men, teachers, and loyal devotees of mystic schools also had knowledge of the third eye and the light which has been identified under such name as a virtue, vital energy, invisible antenna, and a stream of vital power or cosmic energy. The ancient Egyptians, also known as Chemetics or Chemites, identified with the third eye in their art forms, hieroglyphics on the monuments which were built of their educated men, kings, and like. The third eye was made visible through their culture and further referred to as the sleeping serpent. Sculptures, molded reliefs, official portraits of the royal family of Ta'ak and Nefertiti. The bronze statue of Buddha, which resides in Kamakura, Japan, he too recognized the existence of the third eye. In a parable to the disciples, Isa ibn Maryam, or Jesus, he advised them to conduct themselves accordingly. According to the book of Matthew, 10th chapter, 16th verse, it states, "Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves." The golden mask of Ta'ak, wise as serpents. Isa ibn Maryam, peace and blessing be upon him, was a mystic in the order of the Essenes. He attended the schools of Egypt, amongst many others, which explained his choice of words. The third eye is your insight or innocence that all men were born with, but most have never exercised. This is the sleeping power that one must strengthen. When the third eye is used, the entire body is consumed with light. This means that the etheric body and the physical body alike is attuned with each other. The book of Matthew 6:24, 6:22. The light of the body is the eye. If therefore the eye be single, the whole body shall be full of light. The book of Ephesians by Paul, first chapter, 17 through the 19th verse, it states that the creator of our Rabbi Jesus, the anointed, the Father of glory, may give unto you the spirit of wisdom and revelation in the knowledge of him, the eyes of your understandings being enlightened, that ye may know what is the hope of his calling, and what he teach, what the riches of the glory of his inheritance in the saints, and what is the exceeding greatness of his power towards us who believe. The book of Luke by Matthew's 11th verse, 34th to the 35th chapter. The light of the body is the eye. Therefore, when thy eye is single, the whole body also is full of light. But when the eye is evil, the body is also full of darkness. Take heed, therefore, that the light which is in thee be not darkness. The book of Psalms, Sabor of David, 119:19. Open thou my eyes that I may behold wondrous things out of thy law. Throughout the scriptures, reference is made to the eye, not the physical eye. This is the power which resides within every man that lies dormant, waiting for the proper channels to be activated so that this power can become active. This is a power which must be exercised through meditation, proper diet, discipline, and certain daily rituals which will attune you with your natural supreme state in which man was created. And there is the heart, not the physical heart that pumps blood. that circulates around the body, but the inner heart, which are the seats of the inner sensing. The spiritual senses represent the secondary set of senses corresponding to the sense of the physical plane. In other words, the earthly senses of hearing, seeing, feeling, smelling, and tasting have spiritual counterparts by which the spiritual body receive impressions. This is because the seven planes are in tune with the seven senses, which are in tune with the spiritual spinal column through which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala light travels, which is in tune with the sympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is in tune with the electromagnetic force field that surrounds the body called the hilot, which is the aura. It is the vibration of these seats which changes the hilot. All are in tune because the spiritual body and senses are attached to the physical body by a very thin etheric cord invisible to the naked eye. The spiritual body, which is the shell of the soul, houses it on the spiritual plane, which we will speak about later. So you have what they call next the plane of force. The second plane is the plane of force. The plane of force is not different from or opposed to the material plane. Into the lower subplanes of the plane of force penetrate the higher regions of the physical plane. On the plane of force, matter is not solid, liquid, or gas as we understand it to be on the material plane, but much more refined because it is vibrating at a much higher speed. Even the light of the sun, as well as the sun itself, has counterparts on the plane of force. There is no distance, temperature, seasons, day, night, or time because the plane of force is largely composed of etheric duplicates of objects of the physical plane or counterparts. Hence, the plane of force and the material plane work together. In perfect harmony. If this were not true, then the cycles of nature would not be completed so perfectly and faithfully each year. The plane of force is all around us and is as much a part of our makeup as the material plane. We are not able to detect it because our senses are not conditioned. However, beyond the subplanes of the etheric duplicates of the physical plane of force is a vast reservoir of forces which very few have knowledge of. These forces control the forces that result in what we know to be nature. These higher forces can also be held accountable for the many so called wonders of the supernatural phenomena of the material plane. The lower forces consist of ordinary forms of energy like heat, light, attraction, electricity, etc. But the higher forces of these forms of energy, which are finer, they give man and nature vitality and the ability to grow and reproduce. This vital force, which sets life on the physical into motion and is responsible for growth and reproduction, is called El Hayat. El Hayat is also known as prana. As we look in the books of Moses, Genesis second chapter, 7 verse, it reads, "And the sustainer Allah formed Adam of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and Adam became a living soul. Every action and reaction of growth and reproduction is resulted from El Hayat, which is the life force. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the creator and sustainer, left this vital force in every atom of his creation. It harmonized the entire life process of man and nature because it consists in a rhythmic pulsation. In nature, we call this harmonization or seasons. The plane of force is perfectly woven into all matter on the material plane. The basic or mother of matter is nature, and nature is the result of the plane of force. As was previously stated, on the plane of force, there is no distance, temperature, seasons, day, night, or time. We have mentioned about the halat many times. This is el halat in man. There is a voltage and courage between his crown seat and his root. This flow gives rise to a magnetic field which surrounds him. This magnetic field of negative and positive changes is called man's aura or halat. And we're going to continue that after. You know how we do it. But anyway, you need to teach this. You need to read this. You need to teach this. You need to read this. Teach it to your tribal members. Don't give your pearl to swine. If person don't believe it, if they don't want to achieve it, leave them alone. Don't force this knowledge on anyone. This is your safe haven. These are your answers from 1977. Before you were born, we were here to make sure that this generation, 2022 and beyond to 2099, will be equipped. By that time, you will have the culture to bring forth your heritage, to bring forth your hayat, which is wrongly called your lifestyle. They will not steal your life any longer. You will have your culture.